We got entitled parents. It's always an entitled someone, you know? A random woman insulted me for not agreeing to watch her child. This is interesting. So I, 26 female, was sat on a bench finishing my lunch break when a random woman came and sat next to me on the bench. She has a toddler and a stroller. I'm getting up to walk away and she says, "Excuse me, could you just watch my child for 2 minutes whilst I pop into the shop? It's really hard to get the buggy in there." I felt bad, but sympathetically, I said, "Sorry, I'm just going back to work, but this is a fairly safe area. Maybe you can keep the buggy outside and bring him, the kid, in with you." Oh my God, I thought you were about to say leave the child outside. The shopkeeper would keep an eye on the buggy through the window. She looks at me and says in a really mean tone, "But you only work just next door. I can tell from your lanyard. It only takes a couple of minutes." So I just said sorry and went to walk away as I'm literally 2 minutes towards the end of my break when she said, "You probably would have upset him anyway with the state of you." I didn't respond and carried on walking, but it made me feel like crap. And on top of this, I would have genuinely not minded helping if it wasn't for the fact that A, I'd have someone breathing down my neck for being late off break, and B, I know the shopkeeper and the area well and have seen countless people leave pushchairs, mobility scooters, etc. outside. Well, that was just very unnecessary and uncalled for. Even if you didn't have a break, maybe you just felt uncomfortable waiting there and watching. Like maybe you simply didn't want to. You don't even owe someone an explanation, you know? But the fact that you had a genuine one and she was so rude about it. Oh, well, now I really want to help you because you've insulted me. We got a babysitter. Let me guess, it's gonna pay frickin' nothing. Can already tell. Sitter, full-time, 120 a week. What'd I say? The minute I see sitter and it's like a video like this, I'm like, oh yeah, work for free. I'm looking for a sitter for this month for 5 days a week. Oh my God. 6:30 a.m. to 6 p.m. Monday through Friday. Are you crazy? 6:30. Oh, I might as well raise your child for you. Do you want to just give over your custody to me? Like I might as well raise them at that point. Over, I think, fall break one year, my parents took my brother and I to Legoland. I was and still am a huge Lego fan. Anyways, at the time, oh my God, I'm not gonna know how to say any of these. I don't know anything about Legos. Watch me butcher this. Ninjago was a huge deal, and I got Jay and Garmadin minifigs and brought them to breakfast to play with. No idea what anything is. Not a clue. For more info, the breakfast was only for people staying in the hotel, and they would use large 2x2 Lego bricks to mark which tables were taken. Now I sat down with my 2 minifigs, and the restaurant was a buffet, so I got up shortly after my parents and left my minifigs at the table. I don't know why I did this. So I get my breakfast and come back to see people sitting at our table. My parents call me over and tell me they took our table. So I tell them I left my minifigs there, and we ask them if they have them. And they say they didn't see them, even though I remembered that I put them in front of me and they weren't there. I accused them of being thieves. I was 8 or 9 at the time. And the mother at the table said that if I wanted to keep my stuff, I should have kept it with me. And they didn't even bother to look for them. A staff member, I think the manager, tried to keep the peace and asked which set they were to try to get me new ones. Shout out to him. Anyways, we eventually sat back and the staff member had a talk with the family when they magically found the characters under the table. Not only that, but they also weren't staying at the hotel, which was a big no-no, and got kicked out. Oh my God, they definitely took your Legos. Especially because she's like, well, if I wanted to keep my stuff, I would have kept it with me. But maybe she didn't. And maybe that was her just being defensive because you're accusing her of stealing and she didn't. They found them under the table. I don't know. They could have put them there. They could have took them and then made it look like they just found them under the table, you know? Okay. So what do we believe? Do we believe they took the Legos? Or did they not take the Legos? I told you guys to cheers me and drink the other day, and then someone in the comments was like, I took a sip of water when you told me to and I choked, so now I have a fear every time you say that. So I don't want to be held responsible for that, so don't drink water. Be careful drinking water. I don't want your kid cracking their head open. Sorry. This is said with so much like sarcasm. Lifeguard here. I work at a small local pool and we get lots of kids during the summer. Today, a kid started sprinting on the wet pool deck right by the edge of the deep end. Asked him to walk, didn't listen. So I blew my whistle. Not too loud, just a very short toot, little toot. and asked again, politely. Kid proceeds to understand and walk, but mom comes over and starts telling me not to blow my whistle or yell at her child ever again. I'm so sorry that I don't want your kid to crack his head on the concrete and ruin his fun pool day. My bad. I mean, they're literally just doing their jobs. Literally doing their job. Fun fact, there was a point in my life where I thought about being a lifeguard. I did swimming lessons all the way through from level 0 to friggin' what, 15, 13, I don't even remember. All the way through. I even did diving lessons, and I really did consider becoming a lifeguard. Glad I didn't. I do not want to be held responsible for that. Are you out of your mind? Kudos to anyone who's a lifeguard, but hell no. Pregnant couple yells at woman to muzzle her dog. There's a video going viral in India in which a pregnant woman and her husband, who are with their child, are arguing with a dog owner in a lift. They are yelling at the dog owner to muzzle her dog because he can bite the pregnant woman. The dog owner is refusing, saying that she and her dog were in the lift first. Oh, and if they are so scared, they should just take the next lift. Also, as evident in the video, her dog is extremely calm and she has him on a tight leash. Also, there are no laws demanding dogs to be muzzled. The video was posted online by the couple, who very cleverly blurred out their own faces. Oh, and stating what should be obvious, anyone so scared of dogs would not choose to stand in close proximity with a dog for a long time like they did. And I'm sure the actual life ride would have been much shorter than the time they spent in there arguing. Lift ride, not life. They wrote life though, but it meant lift. They only wanted to harass pet owners and show their parent entitlement. Yeah, like that is such an easy, why would you get into an elevator with a dog that you were afraid of possibly biting your pregnant wife, or you yourself if you're the pregnant woman? Just don't go in there. Like when I have Lila, my dog is like this freaking big, and there are dogs that aren't on leashes because people do that a lot in Toronto, even though you're supposed to have them on a leash. I pick her up. I'm not gonna go and start an argument with you and whatever and yell at you to put your dog on a leash because you're not even gonna listen because you're already not listening to the rules. Why would you listen to me? So I do what I can for me, and I pick up my dog, and I wouldn't go in the elevator if I'm scared of the dog biting me. I would just say, I'll take the next one. Simple. My mom tried to get me to move into my grandpa's 1-bedroom home with him. I had to really did I read that right? I did. Okay. My parents tried to get me to move into my grandpa's 1-bedroom home with him. Let me start by saying I am married. Oh, and have 3 animals. But at the time, I had 4. My grandpa, mother's dad, is in the last stages of life, to say the least. That is very sad. I'm sorry. He's been up and down on his hemoglobin, multiple bleeds, and he has been in rehab facility twice in the span of a year. Both my husband and I were CNAs at one point in our lives. My mother asked me if we could move into the living room of my grandpa's home. It has no door. My living room is the size of his home. Oh, and I simply wouldn't have anywhere to put anything. I told her no. My husband already shows minimal affection around my family out of respect. That would kill our intimate life. Oh, I get what you're saying. Also, my cat would definitely cause him to fall more than he already does. She lives in a 4-bedroom home. At the time, none of her kids lived there, so she had 2 offices and a music room. What is going on? Who are you talking about? And the master, which her and her dad shared, I told her she had plenty of space to house my grandpa. Oh, your mom? She didn't want to have to renovate the bathroom tub so he could get into it. After giving her a strong no, she went on a rant about how she would have to sell the home she was born in to put him in a home. And 2 or 3 months later, grandpa is doing fine, and she acts like she never asked me to uproot my life. LOL. Yeah, that's just a big ask. That's a very big ask. Like, I totally understand why that would be very uncomfortable and changing your whole life. And I'm very happy that your grandpa is still here, like at the time you're writing this. And it wasn't like you didn't move in and then he passed away, because then you would feel like so guilty and be like, oh, that's a massive ask. I just wanted to rest. And now she's mad at me. Who's mad? Your mother? Basically, I, 23 female, am helping to move a few pieces of furniture around. And by helping, I mean doing it by myself while my mom watches, because my older sibling conveniently had to be somewhere else per usual. I've worked roughly 29 and a half hours in the past 3 days and had every intention of just resting my bones today as you do on your days off. After moving the second of the couches, I flopped down onto it because my back and legs were being fiery again. My mom asked me to make her lunch while I'm taking my break, and I groaned, admittedly way louder than I should have, and said that I really can't right now, pointing to my sore legs as an explanation. I assumed that, as she also has issues with her neck and back, and this is by no means a new conversation for us, she would understand and just leave it, or at least give me a few seconds to get my bones to calm down. Instead, she sighed dramatically, stood, and flounced over to the kitchen to cook her own food, muttering that she doesn't have time for my games today. She left the juice out when she was done and said, "You can at least make your younger siblings lunch." So it's currently very tense here, and I'm throwing together some macaroni and chicken tenders. Yum. My back legs are throbbing. Nope, my back and legs are throbbing. No is a complete sentence. I love that saying. No is a complete sentence, according to a lot of people here, but she literally does not accept it. I don't feel like I ask for a lot anymore, just validation, basic respect, and occasional breaks from it all. I guess that's too much to ask though. I think we just need to be a little understanding here, maybe a little more patience, you know? I love that saying, no is a complete sentence. That's what I said in another video that I filmed today. Like, you don't have to explain yourself to people. Like, you can just say no and leave it at that. I don't have to say no, I don't want to do that because my legs hurt. I can just say no. I know why I don't want to do it. I don't have to explain to you. I'm just saying no. The answer is no. I am so thirsty today. I don't know what's happening. And I am hydrating. But today I'm just like, I feel like I've been in the Sahara Desert for 7 days. Like, I don't know what is happening. I'm just so thirsty. I did have a cold this week. A cold in the summer. I really did. A head cold. So maybe that's why. Anyways, I like to ramble. We got some text messages. Could you send name some food by our house? I'm not going to be at home for a couple of hours and we don't have food like that. We don't get food boxes in until Monday. I'm talking about restaurant food, please. What? I'm sorry, we don't have the option to do that. If you can let us know in the mornings, we can have a cafeteria lunch for you to pick up every day. Hold on, is this a school? Okay, so a school sends people home with food boxes or cafeteria lunches? Oh, like even that is generous enough. But they couldn't do that. So you're saying you want them to order your kid food from a restaurant? Is that what I'm getting from this? Y'all be tripping. Do schools actually do that? Like, this is blowing my mind, even just saying, hey, we can have a cafeteria lunch sent. Wait, what? Your cafeteria provides food? Like for children after school hours? Oh my God, what I would have done to have like one of my high school poutines sent home. Oh my God, I never got to buy that. I always had to bring my own lunch, but my friend would always get cafeteria food and the poutine was so good. And their muffins, they had the best chocolate chip muffins and chocolate chip cookies. Anyways, now I'm hungry. Mom being annoying. Well, straight to the point there. We recently got a new puppy and my mom loves him, but whenever she gets mad, she says she's going to let it go during the night. Oh, that's terrible. Or to see and wait what she does. She always blames me for a lot of things and calls me dumb or stupid or crazy. Whenever my siblings say bad things about me, she's like, yeah, I know, she's crazy, don't listen to her, right in front of me. Well, that's not nice. Even whenever my siblings and I are play fighting, she gets mad at me and only me. She'll be like, oh my God, why are you so rude? And we tell her we're just joking and she'll be like, well, you always act like that. Whenever my siblings do something hurtful to me and my siblings lie and say they didn't do anything, she'll side with them and be like, it's because I know the way you are. It's been getting to me a lot more lately, so I've been cursing at her and calling her stupid, oh boy, and using stuff against her so she knows what it's like. She's even kicked one of my dogs really bad because she was mad and I called her out for it and I could tell she knew she was wrong for it. I always make her cry whenever I tell her stuff because wait, this is a lot. This is like a lot and it's confusing. I always make her cry whenever I tell her stuff, but it's not my fault. She's thrown food at me jokingly and I've told her I don't like it and then she gets all mad and says I can't take a joke. One time my brother kept calling me a biatch and I told my mom to tell him to stop and she sided with him and was like, don't listen to her, she's always like this. I don't know what to do anymore. We have good moments as well. These are just some of the bad. It's been really getting to me because I feel so hopeless. She's never preferred me over my siblings, even though she says she loves us all equally. It's really unfair. This just sounds like a very toxic environment. I'm not a parent. I'm not a mother. I know everyone has a different style of parenting and different relationships with their children, but that just seemed like a whole lot of toxic behavior from everybody. How you guys speak to each other, the comments that are made, the kicking of, like, this all seems very unhealthy. A mother grabbed me at Disney. Not at Disney. Like, don't ruin the happiest place on earth. When I was in elementary school, probably 1st or 2nd grade, for those not in the US, I was 6 to 8 years old. Thank you for that. I actually really appreciate that. My grandparents had saved enough money to take me, my brother, mom, dad, cousin, aunt, uncle, and themselves to Disney World as a family trip for a couple of days. I just sounded like a seagull. Like, did that not just come out like a freaking seagull? That was so weird. Anyways, I was just so excited. That is so awesome. They are awesome. I know. You are correct. They are awesome. Like, what a trip. That'd be so fun. One day we went to this Finding Nemo thing where you could take a picture in this shark's mouth, and I think you could do other things there. I did not know that it was for pictures and went to the shark's mouth next to this woman and her young, probably 4-year-old daughter. Now, instead of tapping me on the shoulder and asking me to move, she grabbed my arm, dragged me away. I was in tears at this point, and when my parents saw her and came over to me, I explained what happened, crying, and she said something like, "He shouldn't have attacked me and my daughter." Keep in mind, I was young and had just walked over to the shark's mouth. Anyway, after that, there was an argument and we just ended up leaving the building. I think they kind of nailed it on the head there with, like, just tap me on the shoulder maybe and be like, "Hey, do you think you could move?" Like, rather than grabbing you and moving you. Like, oh my God, I know some parents that would throw down if you put your hands on their kid. Like, even in a simple, like, I'm gonna grab your arm and move you. Could have been a Jerry Springer moment, if you know what I'm saying. All right, guys, these were some entitled parents. I'm getting out of here. Stay classy out there. Stay sassy. And drink your water carefully, everybody. Because that is not my fault. Goodbye.